Close your eyes now, gently. Let the breath slow, without force. Not because you're trying to sleep, but because something rare is about to be whispered into your soul. Tonight is not like other nights. Because tonight, I will tell you something that once heard cannot be unheard. Once done cannot be undone. Once lived will shift how the world sees you, forever. There is a path not taken by many, not because it's difficult, but because it's invisible. It doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It doesn't announce itself. It simply is. This path is the path of the inner master. And one man who walks it with stillness, power, and peace is known around the world as Heng. He does not need to raise his voice. He does not need to prove his rank. He does not need to be loud or dramatic or seen. And yet, when he enters a room, the room notices. When he speaks just one sentence, it stays with you for days. Why? Because he has done something most never even think to do. He has mastered the invisible shift. And tonight, I will share it with you. Not just as knowledge, but as energy, as presence, as something you feel, as your breath slows, as your mind drifts, as your soul listens. They will never see you the same, but you will not have to prove anything. What if I told you that the loudest transformation is the quietest one? That the day you stop needing to be noticed is the same day people begin to truly see you? That when you let go of trying to be understood, others finally lean in to understand you? And when you remove your energy from the noise, you become the one whose presence feels sacred. This is not charisma. This is not popularity. This is not image. This is the power of inner presence. It's a rare energy, not flashy, but unforgettable, not boastful, but respected, not demanded, but received. And the truth is, most people will go their entire lives chasing the opposite, trying to be liked, trying to be seen, trying to get attention. But Heng once whispered, to be respected without seeking respect, you must become something others cannot ignore. Not with volume, but with vibration. Tonight, I will take you through the vibration of that presence, one breath at a time. The secret that changes everything. There is something you can do, just once, and everything begins to shift. Not because others are changing, but because you are no longer performing. You are no longer explaining. You are no longer leaking your sacred energy just to be validated. You are still. You are whole. You are watching, while the world watches you. This is not ego. This is not strategy. This is not manipulation. It is presence. It is clarity. It is a return to what was always there. And this is the space Heng invites you to live in. A space where you no longer need to say much, because who you are speaks before your mouth ever opens. Begin to breathe like the master. Inhale now, slowly. Not just into your chest, but into your belly, into your spine, into your soul. And exhale, not with effort, but with permission. You do not need to rush tonight. This is not about sleep yet. This is about remembering something you forgot. That silence is a language. That stillness is a posture. That energy is a presence. And those who master this language will be the ones the world remembers without them trying to be remembered. Heng walks into a room, and people lean forward. Not because he said anything impressive, but because his energy said everything. And so tonight, you will be learning his secrets. Not from textbooks, not from speeches, but through a slower rhythm, a gentler path, a sacred immersion. What you do when no one is watching. The old monks used to say, the master is not known by how he speaks, but by how he walks when no one is looking. Tonight, you return to that walk, the invisible one, the one that leaves no footprints yet changes the ground it touches. You will learn how to breathe differently, how to move without haste, how to carry yourself without needing to be carried by praise. You will hear secrets that sound simple, yet when applied shift how the world reacts to you. These are not life hacks. These are life truths. And once done, once truly embodied, they will make people pause before speaking to you. They will notice something they can't describe, and they will never see you the same again. The invitation. So now, let the shoulders drop. Let the eyes soften. Let the muscles surrender. Let the ego sit quietly in the corner, just for a while. Tonight is not about fixing anything. It is not about improving. It is about remembering that there is a version of you who doesn't need to be seen to be powerful, who doesn't need to be explained to be known, who doesn't need to be loud to be unforgettable. That version of you will awaken tonight. Not with noise, but with stillness. Not with force, but with peace. And so, as the breath slows, and the body melts into the weight of your mattress, and the heart beats more gently in your chest, let us begin the path together. The path Heng has walked for years. The path of the quiet masters, the invisible leaders, the ones who rise, not by shouting, but by embodying. The world will never see you the same again, but you will finally feel like yourself. Secret 1. Withdraw your attention to reclaim your power. Let the breath return. Not the automatic kind, but the sacred kind. The kind that pulls you inward, where the noise of the world begins to dissolve, and a quiet strength begins to rise. There is a secret, whispered in the temple halls of those who train in silence. It is not written in the books. It is not spoken loudly. It is not taught to impress, because it cannot be forced, only felt. It is this: where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your life begins to follow. Heng teaches that your attention is not just focus. It is currency. It is vibration. It is soul force. And what most people do every day is spend it recklessly. They leak attention. They chase validation. They scroll endlessly, react impulsively, and explain unnecessarily. All the while, wondering why they feel invisible, tired, or disrespected. But the master, he does something radical. He withdraws his attention and brings it home. Stop giving your power to everyone who asks for it. You may not notice it, but every time you glance at your phone, every time you explain yourself to someone who doesn't really care, every time you react to the noise of others, you are giving away a piece of your sacred flame. Heng would say, what you give attention to, you become a servant to. And so, the first shift, the secret that changes how people see you, is not about changing your body or your words. It is about where your attention lives. Let it come back now. Come back to the body, to the weight of your chest rising and falling, to the quiet space just behind your eyes. That is where your energy belongs. That is where your center is. Withdraw it from the world, not forever, just long enough to remember who you are without distraction. And when you do this once, truly, people will feel it. They won't be able to explain why, but they'll look at you differently. They'll feel less entitled to your energy. They'll approach you with more reverence, because energetically, you're no longer leaking. You're holding the master's gaze. Heng teaches presence, but not the kind of presence that tries to impress. His presence is like the mountain, unmoved, unshaken, patient. Imagine this now. You're in a room full of people, voices flying, opinions clashing. energy scattering in all directions. And you are still. Your eyes don't dart. Your shoulders don't react. Your breath remains slow. You have withdrawn your attention from the noise. You observe, but you don't absorb. You listen, but you don't leak. And suddenly, the people around you begin to feel something shift. You are no longer chasing energy. You are holding it. And holding this quiet ownership of your own mind is what transforms perception. The loudest person in the room no longer has power, because you are no longer giving it to them. A meditation in stillness. Let us sit now in stillness. Inhale deeply, hold it at the top, and release slowly, like a whisper returning to the wind. Imagine now a cord of energy stretching from your forehead, outward into all the places you've placed your attention today, into texts, into screens, into memories, into judgments, into worry. And now, begin to call them back. Gently, come home, you whisper. Come back to me. And they do. One by one, your scattered lights begin to return. You are no longer a fragmented field of energy. You are whole again. And the silence around you grows more golden. This is the Master's attention. Not distracted, not defensive, not drained, but gathered, centered, and clear. The hidden power of pulling back. People will notice something in you now, but they won't be able to name it. It won't be your clothes. It won't be your posture. It won't be your smile. It will be your absence from noise. It will be the calmness in your gaze. It will be the space you do not fill, but somehow still command. And all of it began with a simple internal shift. You stopped giving your attention to everything that asked for it, and started giving it only to what truly deserved it. Heng reminds us, the Master is not known by what he looks at, but by what he no longer reacts to. Do this once, even for a day, and watch how people begin to pause before interrupting you. Watch how they speak slower around you. Watch how they feel seen, but not in control. Because you are no longer chasing connection. You are becoming it. Sleep like a master sleeps. As your breath slows now, and the body begins to melt into the softness of your bed, let yourself feel what it means to be unavailable to noise. Tonight, you do not owe your energy to the day. You do not owe a response to every thought. You do not owe an explanation to the mind. Withdraw deeper, further, into the quiet center of your chest, where the stillness lives, where Heng returns after each teaching, where the breath speaks the truth louder than the voice. Inhale, exhale, and return to yourself. You are not here to be everything to everyone. You are here to be yourself, whole and unseen, so that when others do see you, they see something real. Final whisper of the first secret. Just once, withdraw your attention. Call it back. Sit with it. Breathe with it. Do not explain. Do not chase. Do not fill the silence. Just be, and let others feel the shift. Because they will, and they'll never see you the same again. Not because you changed for them, but because you finally stopped changing for anyone. And that is how presence begins. Secret 2. Hold eye contact without trying to control. Let your eyes soften now. Let the muscles around them release, as if the world no longer needs to be seen, but felt. There is something ancient about the eyes. They are not just windows to the soul. They are mirrors. And when a master looks at you, they are not trying to dominate you. They are not trying to impress you. They are simply there, unmoving, unreactive, fully present. This is the second secret, one of the most powerful of all. To hold eye contact without trying to control. to simply see and allow the other to be seen, without fear, without performance, without force. It sounds simple, but most have never truly done it. The eyes of the master. Heng does not stare. He does not glare. He does not scan a room to assert himself. He meets with clarity, with peace, with complete inner anchoring. His gaze is like still water. It reflects exactly what's in front of it, but it never ripples unless moved by something true. Now imagine you are standing before a person. Their words may be fast, their emotions loud, their energy unstable. But you are holding your gaze, not with effort, but with presence. You are not pushing. You are not shrinking. You are simply there, and something begins to shift. The other person begins to slow. Their eyes dart less. Their voice drops. Because what you are radiating is a rare thing, an unshakable presence that does not seek to control. Why most people avoid real eye contact? Most avoid it because they are afraid. Afraid to be seen, afraid to be misunderstood, afraid they will be seen as weak, or afraid they'll be seen as strong and therefore judged. But Heng would whisper, when you are no longer afraid of being seen, you stop needing to hide or perform. You just are. Holding eye contact is not a dominance tactic. It is not a manipulation. It is a still mirror. And what makes it powerful is not the intensity, but the absence of need. You are not needing to convince anyone, not needing to prove your intelligence, not needing to appear calm. You simply are calm. You simply are there. And that is magnetic, the energy of a gaze with no force. Let your breath slow again. And as you inhale, imagine your eyes like still pools. As you exhale, let the surface remain undisturbed. You are not trying to send energy outward. You are not trying to pull anything in. You are simply receiving. There is power in a gaze that does not want anything. That's what people remember. That's what people trust. Because the eyes that do not seek control give others a rare gift. The experience of being seen without being judged, without being fixed, without being rushed, just seen. And that experience is so rare that when someone gives it, they are never forgotten. Do this once. Truly hold your gaze without needing to control, and others will pause. They will feel something ancient, something noble, something still, and they will never see you the same. The moment you stop performing, holding eye contact is not about the eyes. It is about the soul behind them. When the soul is calm, the eyes are warm. When the soul is grounded, the gaze is soft but steady. When the soul is not trying to win, but simply witness, then the gaze becomes sacred. This is what Heng teaches without teaching. He does not give you steps for eye contact. He trains your presence so that when you look, your gaze is already filled with peace. So tonight, let us practice Oj meditation, the mirror gaze. Inhale slowly, hold, and release. Feel your eyelids grow heavy, but not closed, just soft, relaxed. Let the eyes rest inside their sockets. Let the tension behind them fade. Now imagine sitting across from yourself, you as you are right now. Look into your own eyes and ask no questions. Give no advice. Try to change nothing. Just witness. Let the breath slow even more. Let the body melt into this moment. Let the presence build silently. You are simply there, fully, calmly, lovingly. And this is the gaze that changes everything. Not because it wants to, but because it allows. What people feel in your presence. When you walk into a room with this gaze, people notice. They feel calmer. They feel seen. They feel the urge to slow down. Not because you said anything, but because you looked at them without trying to shape them. You no longer stare to intimidate. You no longer break eye contact to avoid. You no longer overanalyze or perform. You simply are. And that simple act, held just once, changes how people relate to you. You're no longer someone chasing attention. You are someone who gives stillness. And in return, people respect you, not out of fear, but out of quiet reverence. Sleep with the gaze of the master. Now, let your eyes close fully, but let the energy remain behind them. Tonight, you will sleep like one who no longer hides, like one who no longer tries, like one who simply shows up and lets others see what is true. Your presence is enough. Your energy is enough. Your stillness is enough. There is no need to convince, no need to explain, no need to charm, because the power of your presence is no longer dependent on how others respond. It just is. Like the mountain, like the moon, like the breath that rises and falls, expecting nothing, giving everything. Let your breath guide you now. Let your gaze rest inside. Let the sleep carry you. You do not need to hold eye contact tonight, because the soul never blinks. The soul sees always and rests in the knowing. And when you awaken, try this secret once. Hold your gaze, not to be seen, but to simply see. And others will never see you the same. Secret 3. Stop explaining yourself. You are allowed to rest now, not just your body, but the weight you carry every time you feel the need to explain yourself. Every time you say, "Let me clarify, let me justify, let me make sure you understand," you chip away at something sacred inside of you. Your peace, your power, your stillness. Tonight's secret is this. The day you stop explaining yourself is the day you are finally seen. Not by everyone, but by the right ones, and more importantly, by yourself. Heng teaches this, not through words, but through the spaces between them. He speaks when needed. He listens when silence speaks louder. And he knows the need to explain is born from the fear of not being accepted. But the one who has accepted himself no longer fears misunderstanding. Why we explain ourselves and what it costs. You've done it. We all have. You feel the tension rise. Someone misinterprets you. You panic. Wait, let me explain. You want to be understood. You want to be seen correctly. You want to be respected. But explaining doesn't guarantee any of that. In fact, it often does the opposite. It signals desperation. It drains your energy. And it puts your worth in the hands of someone else's perception. Heng reminds us, if you explain yourself to the blind, they still will not see you. So instead, become the light. And let those with eyes awaken. Detachment is the real power. To stop explaining yourself does not mean becoming arrogant. It does not mean rejecting feedback. It does not mean building walls. It means this. You speak once from clarity, and then you let it go. You do not chase someone's understanding. You do not beg someone to hear you differently. You do not replay the conversation in your head all night. You say, "What I offered was true to me. If it lands, it lands. If it doesn't, that is not mine to carry." And this is freedom. The power of saying less. Heng teaches in few words, because the more aligned you become, the less you need to say. The truth is magnetic when it is not pushed. Presence is powerful when it is not desperate. Try this. The next time someone misunderstands you, pause, breathe, ask yourself, do I need to be understood in this moment? Or do I need to stay at peace with myself? Sometimes, The higher act is not to correct them, but to remain rooted in who you are. Because the moment you stop chasing their understanding, you begin cultivating your own. Guided meditation, letting go of the need to be understood. Breathe now, deep into your chest, and as you exhale, let go of the need to be explained. Imagine this: a version of you who speaks with clarity, but does not chase agreement. A version of you who listens to your own truth more than you listen to the opinions of others. This version of you is not cold. He is clear. This version of you is not passive. He is powerful because his power is not dependent. And tonight, you return to him. Inhale, hold, exhale. Now say silently, I no longer need to be understood by all. I only need to remain true to myself. My clarity is enough. My presence is enough. My peace is not up for negotiation. Let that truth wrap around you like a warm robe. Let it cover your chest, your shoulders, your throat. You no longer need to justify your being. You are here, and that is enough. What happens when you stop explaining? People may react. They may push harder. They may say, "Why aren't you saying more?" But don't let that shake you, because you will begin to notice something new. The right people will lean in. They'll feel your silence not as distance but as strength. They'll trust your quiet confidence more than any performance. And the wrong people? They'll fall away. Not because you pushed them, but because your stillness revealed their noise. Heng would smile and say, when you no longer explain yourself, the world becomes your mirror, and the truth reflects itself without your help. Embodying the shift just once. You don't have to do it every day. Just try it once. The next time someone asks, "Why did you do that?" try answering softly, clearly, once. Then stop. Do not spiral. Do not chase. Do not elaborate unless it brings you peace. And feel what happens inside you. A strange power rises. Not ego, but dignity. You stop bending, and you begin standing. And that simple shift done once will change the energy of how people speak to you. They'll sense that you are no longer available for interrogation. Not because you're hiding, but because you're centered. Sleep with nothing left to prove. As you lie here now, let go of every explanation you gave today. Every moment you tried to convince someone. Every time you overspoke. Every time you reworded something 10 times. Let it go. It's done. It's no longer your burden. Tonight, sleep like the master, with nothing left to prove, with nothing to explain, with nothing owed to the world. Let your breath say more than your words ever could. Let your silence become your sanctuary. You do not have to be understood tonight. You only have to be still. And from this stillness, your presence will rise. Unapologetic, unshakable, undeniable. And when you walk again in the world, do this once. Stop explaining, and you will find the world begins to listen more, not to your words, but to your energy, because they'll never see you the same again, and neither will you. Secret 4. Respond slowly, especially in chaos. Breathe slower now, not because you're tired, but because something sacred happens when you slow down. Tonight's secret is quiet, but life-changing. It is this: in the middle of chaos, the one who responds slowly becomes the one who leads. Not with force, not with control, but with presence. Heng teaches this not by shouting over the storm, but by becoming still within it. He says, when the world rushes, slow down. When the mind races, breathe. When the fire rises, become water. And in that moment, the chaos loses its grip on you, and the world begins to notice something different in your energy. The world moves fast, but you don't have to. Everywhere you go, speed is praised. Quick replies, instant reactions, fast answers. But speed without awareness is not power. It is panic. Heng teaches, slowness is not weakness. Slowness is mastery under pressure. The one who responds slowly in a heated conversation is often the one who is heard. The one who pauses before replying is often the one who speaks from truth, not impulse. And the one who allows space to open between stimulus and response is the one who commands quiet respect. When you're in chaos, do this once. Imagine a room filled with tension, raised voices, impatience, confusion, criticism. Now imagine yourself standing in the center of it, breathing, still, unshaken. You do not interrupt. You do not flinch. You do not react. You let the storm swirl around you, but it does not touch your breath. And then, only when you are ready, you speak, softly, clearly, slowly, and in that moment, everyone feels it. A subtle shift, a moment of stillness, a sacred pause. Not because you controlled them, but because you refuse to let chaos control you. That is power. And when you do it even once, people never see you the same again. Meditation, the sacred pause. Let's practice now. Breathe deeply. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 4 counts. Exhale for 4 counts. Again. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Now picture a moment from your day where someone was rushing you. Maybe they demanded an answer. Maybe they challenged you. Maybe you felt pressure to defend yourself. Now imagine going back to that moment and doing something radical. Nothing. You breathe. You wait. You choose silence over reaction. And when you finally speak, you speak like the sky. Wide, calm, unshaken. That's the sacred pause. What people feel when you slow down. In a world full of fast reactions, the slow one stands out. The one who doesn't rush to agree. The one who doesn't snap back. The one who doesn't panic when challenged. That person begins to feel rare, safe, rooted. They become the one others turn to in difficulty. Not because they have all the answers, but because they don't collapse in the questions. Heng says, the monk's power is not in what he controls. It is in what he no longer reacts to. When you stop reacting fast, even once, you reclaim the space between you and the world. And in that space, you find yourself. A story from the mountain. There is a story from the Shaolin Temple. A student asked the master, "Why do you always pause before you speak?" The master replied, "Because in the pause, I see if what I am about to say comes from peace or from pain. Tonight, let your words come from peace. Let your sleep come from peace. Let your breath be the bridge between chaos and calm. Let the body match the mind. Feel now the stillness spreading through your body. Let your toes relax. Let your thighs grow heavier. Let your chest soften. Let the jaw unclench. There is no rush. There is nothing to fix. There is only space. This is the rhythm of the one who leads without effort. This is the vibration of the one who listens before speaking. This is the posture of the one who others begin to follow, not because he demanded it, but because he became the anchor in the storm. Final whisper of the 4th secret. Just once. The next time you are asked to react quickly, slow down, breathe, wait, look inward, and when you speak, do so slowly, gently, firmly, and you will find people listen more because you no longer speak from panic. You speak from peace, and that peace is what makes them see you differently. Secret 5. Leave rooms without needing closure. Close your eyes again, gently. Let your breath be like a tide retreating from the shore. Unforced, unrushed, unattached. Tonight's secret is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not linger with explanation or apology. It is the sacred art of departure. Leave without drama. Leave without noise. Leave without needing closure. Heng teaches this with his own footsteps. There are no long goodbyes. There is no desire to complete every conversation, to perfect every exchange, to tie every emotional knot with a ribbon of resolution. The master simply bows and exits when the time has come. Why we crave closure and why it drains us. The human mind wants neatness. It wants every chapter finished, every question answered, every relationship labeled, every misunderstanding resolved. But the truth is, life doesn't work that way. Not everyone will apologize. Not every story will conclude with clarity. Not every person will understand what you meant. And the more you try to force closure, the more you remain stuck in the story. Heng would remind us, closure is not given. It is chosen. It is what happens when you decide to walk forward, even if the door behind you never fully closed. The power of quiet exits. Most people exit with noise. They explain, they justify, they slam doors, they post, they rant, they demand to be heard before leaving. But the master leaves with stillness. He does not throw his emotions into the room like flames. He simply withdraws his energy. And that withdrawal says everything. The room feels colder when he is gone, but not because he took love away, only because his presence was warm and full, and now it is absent. That is power. And when you do it once, just once, people feel it. They pause. They reflect. They wonder. And they never see you the same. The internal exit, letting go without revenge. Let's breathe into this together. Inhale deeply. Feel the energy of every place you're still seeking closure. All the unanswered messages, all the unresolved conversations, all the situations where your heart still lingers waiting for the other person to get it. Now exhale and let the waiting go. Let it fall like dry leaves, not because they're bad, but because they've served their season. You are allowed to walk away, without final words, without the last say, without the illusion of control. Walk away like a monk walks away from the marketplace, with peace in the souls, with quiet in the breath, with nothing owed. What the world sees when you don't chase closure, when you leave calmly, people notice. They expect a reaction. They expect a fight. They expect performance. But when they receive silence, stillness, a bowed head, and a gentle turn, it stuns them, because your detachment speaks louder than their chaos. And later, they replay everything. They wonder why you didn't respond, why you didn't argue, why you didn't need them to understand. And in that wondering, your presence lingers longer than words ever could. Guided visualization, the door that closes without sound. Picture this: a beautiful wooden door. It represents something in your life that is unfinished. Maybe a relationship, maybe a chapter, maybe a role you no longer need to play. You've been standing at that door for so long, knocking, explaining, waiting for someone on the other side to open it and say, "I get it now. You were right. We're done." But they don't. And now you realize something powerful. You don't need their permission to walk forward. You don't need to finish the sentence. You don't need their understanding to reclaim your peace. You step away from the door. You bow to it with gratitude, and you walk into the stillness of your future. Not with a bang, not with revenge, but with release. And behind you, the door doesn't slam. It simply disappears into mist. Sleep like the one who left in peace. Tonight, you do not need to replay every conversation. You do not need to write messages in your mind that you'll never send. You do not need to win in silence. You simply need to let go. Let your jaw loosen. Let your spine soften. Let your heart unclench. This is your night to leave. Leave the stories behind. Leave the tension behind. Leave the need to explain behind. You are not abandoning anything. You are returning to yourself. And from this space of wholeness, you will begin to see clearly. Final whisper of the fifth secret. Try this once. The next time something ends, do not rush to close it. Do not run back in to tie the bow. Just pause. Breathe. Exit slowly. And you'll feel it. Power, peace, presence. And others will feel it too. They'll wonder where you went. They'll feel your absence. They'll reflect on what you gave now that you've taken it back. And they will never see you the same again. Because the one who leaves without needing closure is the one who has already found it inside. Secret 6. Say no without justification. Inhale slowly. And as you exhale, release the pressure. The pressure to explain. To soften your no. To cushion your truth. Tonight's secret is not aggressive. It is not cold. It is not loud. It is this. Say no without explaining why. Say it without guilt. Say it without apology. Say it not as rejection of others, but as a return to yourself. Heng teaches that inner peace requires inner boundaries, and those who do not learn to say no eventually lose the ability to say yes with joy. Why we struggle to say no? We are trained to please, to be liked, to avoid conflict, to stay nice. And so we say yes when we mean no. We smile while our soul contracts. We say maybe later when we already know the answer. But each false yes, each forced agreement, each self-abandonment dressed in politeness is a silent betrayal of your peace. Heng would say, every time you say yes to something that empties you, you say no to the sacred fire inside. The sacred pause before answering. Now picture this. Someone asks you for your time, for your energy, for your agreement, but your inner voice whispers, no. What do? Most rush into long explanations. I wish I could, but I'm just so busy. I don't want to upset anyone. But the master, he simply breathes and says, no, and then silence. No anger, no tension, just peace. And in that peace, something shifts. The other person may blink, they may push, they may try to pull a reason out of you, but you do not move. Because your no is not resistance. It is self-recognition. It is clarity. It is stillness in the face of guilt. Boundaries are not barriers. Let's be clear. Saying no is not about pushing others away. It's about pulling your soul back in. Heng teaches that monks don't say no with hostility. They say it with humility and alignment. They say no to overcommitment, so they can say yes to depth. They say no to people-pleasing, so they can say yes to truth. They say no to distraction, so they can say yes to presence. And you can too. Once you say no clearly, softly, without needing permission, people begin to feel your boundaries not as walls, but as walls that hold something sacred inside. Meditation, the energy of a clear no. Close your eyes and remember a time recently when you said yes, even though you didn't want to. How did your body feel? Tight? Tired? Drained? No, go back. Rewind that memory. And this time say No. Say it with breath. Say it with peace. Say it with dignity. No excuses. No flinching. Just this. Thank you, but no. And then silence. Feel what that creates in your body. A space, a clarity, a reclaiming of your time, your energy, your center. That is your birthright, and it never needed to be justified. What people feel when you say no without fear. They may react. They may try to negotiate. They may pressure you. They may guilt you. But eventually, they begin to adjust. They begin to respect the line you hold. They begin to ask more thoughtfully. They begin to mirror your strength. Because when your no is clear, your yes becomes more meaningful. You are no longer convenient. You are considered. And that quiet shift will change how others speak to you, how they treat you, how they think of you. Not as cold, not as selfish, but as someone whole. Sleep with the peace of an honest no. As you rest now, let go of all the times you said yes out of fear. Let go of the meetings you accepted but didn't want. The favors you said yes to while your body said no. The conversations you stayed in long past your truth. Tonight, let it all go. You do not owe your peace to politeness. You do not owe your time to guilt. You do not owe your energy to those who do not honor your boundaries. Sleep like a monk, with a heart wide open and a no that holds sacred space within. Let the breath slow. Let the body soften. Let the nervous system reset. You are allowed to say no and still be loved, and still be respected, and still be enough. Final whisper of the sixth secret. Try this once. The next time you want to say no, say it clearly, without fear, without story, without softening it for others. And you'll feel it. The power of being aligned, the freedom of being honest, the strength of choosing yourself. Others will feel it too. They'll notice your calm refusal. They'll see the clarity in your eyes. They'll hear the stillness in your voice. And they will never see you the same again. Not because you said no, but because you said it without apology. Secret 7. Silence in group settings. Sink deeper now. Let the breath become thinner, slower, as if the whole world is exhaling through you. Tonight's secret is made of silence. Not the silence of awkwardness, not the silence of fear, but the sacred silence of presence. In a group setting, don't rush to speak. Be the one who watches. Be the one who listens. Be the one who holds stillness, while others spill noise. This is not about withdrawing. This is not about being shy. This is not about fading into the background. This is about energy. When everyone reaches outward with words, the one who stays inward becomes the center of gravity. Heng embodies this in every gathering. He does not speak to impress. He does not interrupt to dominate. He sits. He listens. He radiates. And in that silence, he becomes unforgettable. The compulsion to speak and why it weakens us. Most people fear silence in social settings. They feel pressure to contribute, to prove they belong, to fill the space. So they talk, and talk, and talk. But Heng teaches, speaking is not connection. Presence is. When you speak from stillness, your words carry weight. But when you speak to avoid discomfort, your words lose energy. And so, the next time you're in a room full of voices, try something radical. Say nothing, just for a while. Observe, breathe, soften your gaze. Let your silence become sacred space. People will notice. They may not understand why, but they'll feel your presence more than they hear others' noise. The magnetic power of the silent one. Let me ask you, when you walk into a group, Do you feel the need to be heard? To offer your opinion right away? To say something smart? To make them laugh? What would happen if you didn't? What would happen if you simply entered the room with presence, but without urgency? If you watched, not from distance, but from peace? If you smiled when it felt true, spoke only when the words came from inner clarity, you would begin to radiate something rare. People wouldn't feel overwhelmed by you. They'd feel drawn to you, not because you chased their attention, but because you honored your energy. Meditation, becoming the silent center. Inhale gently, feel the air reach your spine, and as you exhale, imagine yourself in a circle of people. Laughter, debate, commentary, the usual buzz of a group, and you are simply there, breathing, listening, smiling softly. You are not threatened. You are not forgotten. You are simply holding space. And as you hold that silence, a strange shift occurs. One person turns toward you, then another. They feel something in your stillness that isn't in the noise. Not authority, not control, but safety, clarity, grace. You are the eye in the storm, the flame that doesn't flicker, the mountain that doesn't move, and people feel it. They remember it, even if they don't know why. When the world speaks too much, let stillness speak for you. We live in a world addicted to volume. More posts, more opinions, more reactions. But when everyone is loud, the one who whispers is heard first. And the one who waits to speak is usually the one who is listened to when they finally do. Heng would smile and say, "The moment you no longer need to be heard is the moment your words begin to carry power. You do not need to interrupt to be seen. You do not need to dominate to be felt. You do not need to entertain to be valued. You simply need to be there, fully, quietly, rooted, and that alone shifts the entire room." What people feel in your group silence? They feel a break in the noise, a calming weight in the room, a presence that makes others soften. They may say, "You don't say much, but when you do, I listen." Or, "I feel calm when you're around." That is the effect of sacred silence. You don't leave behind echoes. You leave behind resonance. The difference? Echoes repeat noise. Resonance lingers in the soul. Sleep like the one who holds space. Tonight, you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to recount the day's conversations. You don't have to prove you said enough, did enough, contributed enough. Tonight, you rest like the master, with silence in your chest, with peace behind your eyes, with no urgency to be remembered. Let your breath be your presence. Let your stillness be your strength. Let your silence become your sanctuary. And tomorrow, when you enter the group again, try it. Enter softly. Speak less. Watch more. And hold the space like it belongs to you. Because when you do that once, just once, you'll feel something sacred shift. And others, they'll feel it too. They'll speak slower around you. They'll lean in when you speak. They'll wonder why they feel more calm when you're near. And they'll never see you the same again. Because the one who doesn't rush to speak becomes the one whose presence says everything. Secret 8. Breathe before you speak. Let your breath guide you. Inhale softly. Hold gently. Exhale completely. Tonight's secret is delicate yet powerful. It's a shift so subtle that most people overlook it. But once you embody it, your voice will never sound the same. Breathe before you speak. Not because you're nervous, but because you're grounded. Because your words are sacred. Because silence is the soil in which truth grows. Heng does not rush into words. He moves like water, with intention, with calm, with presence. And the secret is this: before every sentence, he breathes. Not dramatically, not to signal wisdom, but to invite awareness. And in that single breath, everything shifts. Why most people speak before they think. In conversation, most people respond automatically. They listen only to reply. They interrupt to stay in control. They speak just to fill space. But breathless speech is not presence. It's pressure. Heng teaches, the breath is not just air. It is consciousness entering the body. Let it arrive before the words. When you breathe first, even for a second, you become more than reactive. You become responsive, rooted, whole, and suddenly, others listen differently because they can feel the difference in your voice. The sacred pause before speaking. Imagine this. Someone asks you a question. Everyone turns to hear your answer. You feel the pressure to speak, to impress, to respond quickly. But instead, you do nothing. Just for a moment, you inhale. You feel your breath expand inside your chest. You let it settle. And then you speak. Not to impress, but to express. From stillness, from clarity. That pause, that breath, makes all the difference. It tells the room, I am not here to perform. I am here to be present. And they feel it. Meditation, the breath that carries your voice. Let us try this now. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and again, slower this time. Now imagine you're about to say something important. A truth, a boundary, a confession, a request. Before you speak, you breathe. And as you breathe, the words soften, the heart steadies, the nervous system slows. And when you finally speak, your words land like warm rain. Gentle, true, undeniable. This is what happens when you let breath lead. Your voice becomes an instrument of calm. How the world responds to a grounded voice. People are not only listening to what you say, they are listening to how you say it. They're feeling the rhythm behind the syllables. They're absorbing the emotion beneath the tone. When your voice is rushed, they feel urgency. When your voice is forced, they feel resistance. When your voice is breathless, they feel tension. But when your voice comes after the breath, they feel peace. They lean in. They feel safe. They feel like they are being spoken to, not spoken at. This is the quiet charisma of presence. The breath before words is respect. Heng teaches that every word has weight, but its weight is not in volume. It's in origin. A word that comes from breath carries grace, carries clarity, carries reverence. So breathe first, even if the conversation is casual, even if it's just a greeting, even if it's a goodbye. Breathe, because breath is your anchor. It reminds you who you are before you speak to the world. Sleep like someone who no longer rushes to speak. As your body softens into your bed, let go of every word you said today without breathing. Every rushed answer, every pressured sentence, every moment you spoke before returning to your center. Let it dissolve. Let it fall away like wind slipping through trees. Let silence take its place. Tonight, speak to no one. Let the only voice be your breath. Let the inhale be your truth. Let the exhale be your offering. You do not need to explain anything. You do not need to rehearse tomorrow. You do not need to speak at all. Let the breath become your language. Let the breath become your prayer. And sleep like the one who now knows. You never need to rush to speak, because presence speaks before words ever do. Final whisper of the 8th secret. Try it once. Before your next sentence, pause, breathe, and then speak. And feel the shift. Your words soften. Your eyes become warmer. Your energy grows slower, deeper, truer. Others will feel it too. They won't know exactly why, but they'll sense something in you. More grounded, more powerful, more whole, and they will never see you the same again. Because the one who breathes before he speaks is the one whose voice carries stillness into the world. Secret 9. Embody the invisible work daily. Let your breath deepen again. Let it wrap around your spine like incense smoke rising through a still room. Let your thoughts quiet now, not because they're wrong, but because something more powerful is beginning to rise within you. Tonight's secret is not about what others see. It's about what they feel without knowing why. The world feels your energy long before it sees your results. And that energy, it's shaped in silence, in solitude, in the discipline no one else ever witnesses. Heng calls it the invisible work, the rituals, the structure, the inner commitment to presence. Not for applause, not for performance, but for alignment, because when you embody discipline silently, you begin to carry a presence that makes others pause, even if they never saw the effort behind it. The power of what no one sees. Most people want to be respected, but they do not want to repeat the small, unseen actions that build respect over time. They want the energy of mastery, but skip the rituals of mastery. Heng reminds us, a man's presence is shaped when no one is watching. His breath, his bed, his silence, his posture, his intention. The monk does not sweep the floor for praise. He sweeps because the floor must be swept. He folds the robe with care, not because anyone is grading him, but because every motion reflects the inner world. So ask yourself, what do you do when no one is watching? How do you walk when no one sees you? How do you sit when there is no one to impress? How do you breathe when no one's expecting wisdom? This is where your presence is forged. Invisible work creates visible energy. Picture this. Two people walk into a room. One has no credentials, no title, no fanfare, but their presence fills the space. Their silence says more than others' noise. Why? Because their energy speaks for them. And that energy was built in quiet hours, built through early mornings, built through cold showers, morning meditation, disciplined sleep, and mindful motion. These are not hacks. These are devotions. Heng does not train to show his skill. He trains to show up to himself each day. And you can do the same. Not with noise, but with rhythm. Not with display, but with devotion. Meditation, the unseen devotion. Close your eyes now and inhale deeply into your chest, then deeper into your belly. As you exhale, imagine yourself in the early hours of the morning. No one else is awake. The city is quiet. The room is still. And you rise. You move. You breathe. You light a candle. You sit in silence. You stretch. You clean. You prepare your tea with care, not because anyone will see it, but because this ritual becomes the energy you will carry into every room. This is the invisible work. And as you inhale again, let that energy rise in your spine, the energy of self-respect, the energy of the unseen, the energy that builds everything others will later feel. No discipline is ever wasted. No cold morning was meaningless. No journal page written in solitude was ever lost. No quiet refusal of temptation was insignificant. Everything you do when no one is watching becomes the presence that walks with you when everyone is. Heng's calmness, his gaze, his posture, they were not built on stage. They were built in the temple hall, in the silence before sunrise, in the still repetition of practice. And that is why he does not need to demand respect. He embodies it. Do this once, just once. Follow your routine without sharing it. Train without broadcasting it. Rise early without announcing it. And see what happens. People will sense a shift. They won't know what changed, but they'll feel it. The ritual becomes the vibration. Let your bed be made with care. Let your body move with purpose. Let your meals be slow. Let your silence be intentional. This is not about being perfect. It's about being aligned. And when your outer actions reflect your inner peace, even the way you open a door, the way you walk across a room, the way you sit in a chair, begins to change. And people notice. They feel more grounded around you. They speak with more thoughtfulness. They defer to your calm without knowing why. Because your invisible rituals have shaped a visible peace. Sleep with the grace of devotion. As you rest now, let go of the need to be seen doing the work. Let go of the urge to explain your discipline. Let go of the desire to be validated for your growth. You are not becoming someone to impress the world. You are returning to someone the world cannot ignore. Let your pillow receive you like a temple mat. Let your breath flow like a monk's rhythm. Let your body soften into the reward of your quiet effort. Tonight, you are not behind. You are not unseen. You are not unrecognized. You are simply building from the inside out. And tomorrow, when you rise, the discipline you keep in the dark will become the light you carry into every space. Final whisper of the ninth secret. Just once, let your actions be sacred without needing to be seen. Wake early, move slowly, train with devotion. Tend to your space, tend to your breath, and don't tell anyone. Let the work do the talking. Let the silence shape the presence. Let the unseen become unforgettable. Others will feel it. They'll look at you differently. They won't know why, but they'll pause. And they'll never see you the same again. Because the one who masters the invisible work becomes the one who radiates the energy of quiet mastery. Secret 10. Do one silent act of discipline daily. Let your breath become a quiet flame now. Not flickering, but steady. Not wild, but sacred. There is something almost forgotten in the modern world. A kind of private vow, a choice made each day, not for applause, not for recognition, but for inner alignment. Do one silent act of discipline daily, even if it's small, even if no one sees it, even if it feels ordinary, especially if it feels ordinary. Heng teaches that greatness is not built in grand gestures. It is carved one silent action at a time. Sweeping the temple floor, folding the robe with precision, drinking tea in stillness, stretching in silence before dawn. What you do once, quietly, shapes what others feel long after. The power of repetition without applause. Most people only act when someone is watching, only perform when there's praise, only stay consistent when there's a reward. But the monk does not train for approval. He trains for alignment. Heng reminds us, the blade is not sharpened in battle. It is sharpened in solitude. And so is your mind. Your posture, your energy, your calm is built not by reacting to life, but by honoring one act of discipline, daily, silently, with love. What discipline looks like when it's sacred. It doesn't have to be intense. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be extreme. It simply has to be kept. Making your bed with care, drinking water mindfully, meditating before sunrise, stretching with intention, walking without your phone, saying no when your body says no, sitting in silence instead of scrolling. That one act repeated daily becomes a thread. And over time, the thread becomes a robe you wear in your energy, a robe others begin to see, even if you never speak of it. And they wonder why they feel respect in your presence, why you seem grounded, why your life seems less chaotic. The answer is simple. You keep one promise to yourself every single day. Meditation, the discipline that needs no witness. Let your breath steady now. Inhale into your belly. Exhale slowly through your nose. Now, visualize a single act. Small, manageable, sacred. You do it every day. Before noise enters the room, before the world demands anything. Maybe it's lighting a candle. Maybe it's sitting in silence. Maybe it's wiping the counter with focus. Maybe it's taking 5 deep breaths. You don't rush it. You don't explain it. You don't skip it. You do it because it is yours. This is your sacred practice. This is the quiet contract with your higher self. What the world feels from your private discipline. People may never see what you do. They may never ask. They may never know. But they will feel something in you. Your consistency, your order, your ease, your strength. And when others spiral, you'll remain centered. Not because you're better, but because you kept your promise to stillness. One act, every day, no matter what. Heng does not advertise his routine, but his body speaks it. His energy reflects it. His stillness transmits it. That's how discipline works. Not by shouting, but by radiating. Make it so simple you can't fail. The mind will want to complicate it. Make it big. Make it loud. Make it impressive. But the soul craves simplicity. Heng says, if you cannot hold silence, you cannot hold power. If you cannot repeat a sacred act, you cannot hold peace. So choose your one act. Not 10, not 20, just one, and repeat it. No matter how you feel, no matter who is watching, no matter what the day demands. This is your temple, built in repetition, not perfection. Sleep like the one who kept a promise. As your body softens now into sleep, let go of the pressure to do everything. Let go of the guilt of inconsistency. Let go of the noise that says, you're not enough. You are enough. You showed up for yourself, even in one small way. And that one act is enough. Sleep like a monk who knows the temple was swept. Sleep like a warrior who sharpened the blade. Sleep like a soul who did not break the promise today. And tomorrow, you'll rise again. And repeat it. Not for reward, not for image, but for alignment. And in that alignment, others will feel your discipline, even if they never see it. Final whisper of the 10th secret. Do this once. Pick one silent act. Simple, repeatable, sacred, and do it every day. Without needing praise, without needing results, without needing others to notice. And slowly, that act will shape your energy. That energy will shape your presence. And that presence will shape how the world sees you. They'll sense something has shifted. They'll feel your quiet order. They'll respect what they cannot explain. And they'll never see you the same again. Because the one who keeps a silent promise is the one whose life becomes a reflection of discipline. Secret 11. Stop filling the silence. Let the silence surround you now, not as emptiness, but as space, not as absence, but as presence. Tonight's secret is not about what you say. It's about what you no longer need to say. Stop filling the silence. Let it breathe. Let it stretch. Let it hold you. Because those who trust silence radiate something deeper than words ever could. Heng lives inside this space. He does not rush to answer. He does not fill gaps with noise. He sits with the quiet and allows others to meet themselves inside it. And in doing so, he becomes unforgettable. Why we fear silence? Most people speak to avoid discomfort. They fill the silence with chatter, jokes, over-explaining, questions that don't need to be asked. Why? Because silence makes them feel vulnerable, exposed, uncertain. But Heng would remind us, only the one who is unsure of himself needs to keep talking. True presence is not loud. True power is not reactive. True confidence is not performed. When you stop filling the silence, you begin listening to something deeper. Yourself. The moment, the energy of the room, the truth between the words, what silence actually says. People think silence is awkward, but in truth, silence is sacred. It says, I'm not in a rush. I'm not here to impress. I am whole, even in stillness. And when you give others silence, you give them the gift of space. Space to think, space to feel, space to settle. That's why, in the presence of a master, you often feel more calm, even if they say very little, because it's not their words that create safety. It's their ability to hold silence without needing to run from it. Meditation, sitting in the silence without reaching. Inhale now, slowly. Exhale without urgency. Let the silence arrive. Let it stretch between your breaths. Let it fill the room like invisible incense. Let it hold you like the pause between heartbeats. Now picture yourself in conversation. Someone asks a question. There's a moment of pause, and you do not rush to fill it. You breathe. You sit with it. You allow the silence to be a part of the dialogue. And when you finally speak, your voice is quieter, slower, truer, because it came from stillness, not reaction. What happens when you no longer fear silence? People listen more. They lean in. They soften their tone. They stop expecting a performance. They feel your self-trust, your groundedness, your clarity. And even if they don't understand why, they feel different around you. Not because you spoke better, but because you spoke less. Because your presence filled what your words didn't need to. Heng once said, there is a language beneath the voice. You speak it by listening. You transmit it through stillness, the energy of a quiet mind. When you stop filling silence, your mind quiets. Your heart becomes more present. Your attention sharpens. And the way others treat you begins to shift. They interrupt you less. They reflect more before speaking. They ask deeper questions. They trust you more. Why? Because you've become someone who doesn't run from space. You've become someone who embodies permission to pause. And in that permission, people begin to feel safe. Sleep like the one who no longer chases sound. As you lie down now, let go of every sentence you said to fill a void. Let go of every time you talked just to feel in control. Let go of the need to be interesting, funny, charming, or enough. You are enough, even in stillness, even in silence, even when you say nothing at all. Let your breath become the only voice. Let the air carry your thoughts into stillness. Let your energy speak for you tonight. No more rehearsing conversations. No more wondering what to say. No more performing in your mind. Let silence hold you now. Let it cradle your nervous system. Let it teach you that doing less is being more. Final whisper of the 11th secret. Do this once. In your next conversation, pause. Let the silence stay a little longer. Don't rush to speak. Don't race to fill the space. Let your eyes hold. Let your breath lead. Let the moment stretch. And then, when you do speak, your words will feel like medicine. Others will feel it too. They'll mirror your calm. They'll feel something deeper than words. And they'll never see you the same again. Because the one who stops filling the silence becomes the one who embodies it. Secret 12. Detach from outcome. Deepen in presence. Take a soft breath now, as if nothing more is needed from you. Not a result, not an answer, not a performance, just the breath, just this moment, just presence. Tonight's final secret is perhaps the most mysterious, the most powerful, and the hardest to hold. Detach from outcome, deepen in presence. Let go of needing things to go a certain way. Let go of needing people to respond a certain way. Let go of needing to win, fix, impress, or be right. And in doing so, you will become magnetic. Why we chase outcomes. The human mind craves control. It wants a plan, a guarantee, a result. So we live on the surface, chasing outcomes, pushing things forward, trying to make people like us, trying to prove our value. And all the while, we abandon the only place where peace lives. Here, now, this breath, this moment. Heng teaches, when you let go of control, you begin to walk with the world, not against it. The trap of wanting things to go well. We think, if I say the right thing, they'll respect me. If I work hard enough, they'll choose me. If I do everything right, life will reward me. But that mindset is always waiting. Waiting for approval. Waiting for reward. Waiting for proof that we are good enough. The master, however, is not waiting. He shows up fully. He trains fully. He loves fully. But then, he releases the outcome. He lets the arrow fly, but does not follow it with his energy. And that is why he walks in peace. Meditation. Letting go of outcome. Breathe in, hold, and exhale. Letting go of everything you thought today needed to become. Now picture something you've been chasing. An outcome, a response, a result. Feel the tension it creates in your chest. The expectation, the fear of loss, the craving for control. Now breathe into that space. And with the exhale, release it. Whisper softly, I release the outcome. I return to presence. And as you do, you'll feel it. A softening, a stillness, a surrender, not a giving up, but a letting be. That is where power lives. Not in the chase, but in the calm that follows true effort. How others feel when you stop chasing. Something changes in your energy. People feel it. You no longer seem needy. You no longer seem desperate. You no longer seek validation. Instead, you radiate trust, calm, groundedness. You become the one who gives fully, but needs nothing back. That presence is unforgettable, and it makes people lean in, not because you demanded it, but because they can feel you are no longer chasing anything. Heng would smile and say, when you stop running after the world, you discover it has been quietly following you. Do your work then, let go. This is not passivity. This is mastery. You still show up. You still train. You still speak with intention. You still act with clarity. But once the action is taken, you let go of trying to control the result. You let go of needing to be right. You let go of needing to be understood. You let go of needing to win. And in that space, you become light, unburdened, rooted, free. Sleep without clinging. As you lie here now, let go of every outcome you've been clinging to. Let go of the conversation you wish had gone differently. Let go of the future you're afraid won't come. Let go of the image you're trying to maintain. You do not need to know what tomorrow holds. You only need to be here, in this breath, in this moment, in this sacred stillness. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your heart open not to chase but to receive. This is the sleep of the Master, the one who walks in full presence and leaves the result to the flow of life. Final whisper of the 12th secret. Try this once. Show up. Do your best. Speak your truth. Give your energy. And then let it go. Detach. Breathe. Trust. And you'll feel something return. Joy without condition. Peace without needing everything to be perfect. Presence that doesn't rise and fall with outcomes. And others will feel it too. They'll sense your freedom. They'll feel your wholeness. They'll mirror your calm. And they'll never see you the same again. Because the one who no longer chases outcomes is the one who already walks in the fullness of now. Secret 14. The aura of restraint. Power in what you don't say or do. Let your body rest deeper now. Like a mountain, untouched by wind. Like water that doesn't rush to ripple. Like silence that knows it doesn't need to be filled. There is a secret that is rarely spoken because it is built not in action, but in restraint. Your greatest power may not come from what you do, but from what you choose not to do. Not every thought needs to become a sentence. Not every urge needs to become an act. Not every challenge needs to be answered. Because restraint is power. Heng teaches not only by what he shares, but by what he holds back, by what he does not say, by the spaces he leaves open, by the quiet decisions that go unseen but deeply felt. Restraint is not suppression, it is refinement. You may think, but shouldn't I be fully expressed? Shouldn't I be open and transparent and honest in every moment? Yes, but not everything that is honest is helpful. Not everything that is true is timely. Not everything that is felt needs to be spoken. Heng teaches, the warrior doesn't swing his blade because he can. He holds it to honor the moment. Restraint is not fear. It's reverence. It's knowing that your energy is sacred, and not everything deserves access to it. The discipline of what you don't do. You don't respond to every insult. You don't chase every explanation. You don't always take the opportunity to be right. You don't engage every time someone pokes your peace. Because you've tasted the wisdom of holding back. Restraint is not weakness. It's a signal, a message to the world. I don't react to everything because I don't belong to everything. And the more you refine this discipline, the stronger your presence becomes. People will feel your restraint, not as distance, but as depth, not as silence, but as strength. Meditation, holding the flame. Breathe in, let the breath settle low in the belly, and exhale, slowly, as if releasing tension from your hands. Now picture a moment of tension, a comment, a temptation, an opportunity to react. And this time, you do nothing. You let the heat rise and dissolve. You let the story try to pull you in and fall flat. You smile not from smugness, but from stillness. And in that choice to hold, you grow. You become more than reactive. You become whole. This is the flame of restraint. It glows brighter the less you fan it with reaction. What others feel when you restrain yourself. People expect you to bite back, to snap, to prove, to win. But when you don't, when you pause, when you smile, when you step away without a final word, they feel something ancient in you, something uncommon, something sacred. And whether they admit it or not, they begin to respect you. Not because you won, but because you didn't need to. And that shift, done once, is unforgettable. The aura that forms in your restraint. Over time, restraint becomes a vibration. You don't need to raise your voice. Your calm speaks for you. You don't need to threaten. Your presence holds weight. You don't need to control, because you have mastered yourself. Heng walks through life this way. He doesn't control others. He doesn't rush to correct. He restrains, refines, releases, and in doing so, his energy becomes magnetic, quiet, and unshakable. This is what happens when your power is not just what you show, but what you hold back. Sleep like one who no longer reacts. As you lie here now, let go of the moments where you overreacted, where you said too much, where you gave your power away too easily. Let them float out of the body, with the breath, with no shame, because restraint is not something you're born with. It's something you practice. One breath at a time, one pause at a time, one sacred not now at a time, and tomorrow you will practice again. Final whisper of the 14th secret. Do this once. In a moment of temptation, a moment of frustration, a moment of potential overreaction, pause, breathe, hold the flame, and choose not to. Not because you're weak, but because you're full, because your energy is no longer leaking outward. It's gathering inside you, becoming still and powerful. And others will feel it. They'll notice you didn't react, didn't speak, didn't strike, and they'll never see you the same again. Because the one who knows what not to do is the one the world quietly learns to follow. Secret 15. Energy speaks louder than words. Breathe slowly now, not just to rest your body, but to feel your own vibration, not what you're saying, but what you're carrying. Because tonight's secret is not spoken, it is felt. Energy speaks louder than words, and what you embody is what others truly hear. We live in a world of noise. Words come fast. Opinions fly. Explanations overflow. But beneath all of it is something quieter, something more ancient, something far more powerful. Your energy. And whether you realize it or not, you are always transmitting something. What are you really saying? You can say, I'm fine, but your energy might say, I'm tired. You can say, it's no problem, but your energy might say, I feel unseen. You can say, I don't mind, but your energy might say, please respect me. Heng teaches, you cannot speak peace if your body is tense. You cannot offer calm if your eyes are unsettled. You cannot teach truth if your breath is not rooted in it. So ask yourself, what is my presence saying? Before I even open my mouth, others feel you before they understand you. This is why some people enter a room and shift the atmosphere. They don't announce themselves. They don't dominate the space. They simply are, and who they are speaks. It's in the way they walk, the way they sit, the way they breathe, the way they observe without reacting. You can't fake this energy. You can only become it. Through stillness, through discipline, through quiet truth, meditation, tuning to the frequency within. Let your breath guide you now. Inhale deeply, hold at the top. Exhale slowly through the nose. Now ask your body, what energy am I holding right now? Feel it, not as judgment, but as awareness. Are you tight, loose, heavy, soft? What are you radiating into this space? Not through your voice, but through your state. Now breathe in peace, not a thought, a vibration, and exhale noise, tension, distortion. Let your spine become a tuning fork, aligned with stillness. That is your broadcast now. and it will be felt. The body doesn't lie. Your tone can sound kind, but your energy may feel cold. Your words can be wise, but your body may be agitated. Heng says, don't speak peace. Live it. Don't teach calm. Embody it. When you do, people feel safe, not because of your words, but because of your feel. And when you practice this long enough, you don't even need to speak. Your energy will enter the room before you do. And people will sit up, breathe slower, think deeper, not because you told them to, but because your energy gave them permission to. What happens when you become energetically clean? As you align your internal state with stillness, a soft clarity arises. Your presence feels like a temple. Others want to be near it, not to take from it, but to remember something inside themselves. This is why energy speaks louder than words. Words can lie. Energy cannot. Words can be copied. Energy is original. Words can change. But energy is remembered. Sleep like one whose energy is now whole. Let your body release the old frequencies. The tension, the fear, the people-pleasing, the trying too hard. Let them all fall away. You no longer have to say everything. You no longer have to prove anything. Your breath is your message now. Your stillness is your signal. Your peace is your presence. Sleep like someone who is no longer misaligned. Sleep like someone whose energy finally matches their truth. And tomorrow, before you speak, feel. Before you explain, breathe. Before you try to be understood, make sure your energy is already clear. Because others may forget what you say, but they will never forget how your presence made them feel. Final whisper of the 15th secret. Do this once. Speak less. Align more. Instead of performing, pause. Instead of reacting, return inward. Ask, what is my energy saying right now? What is my silence transmitting? Can I walk through this space without explanation and still be understood? And when you walk like this, people will feel you differently. They may not know why, but they will never see you the same. Because the one whose energy speaks for them no longer needs to raise their voice. Secret 16. Listening like a master. Let the breath return to stillness. No rush, no pulling, just quiet receiving. Because tonight's secret is not about what you say. It's about how you listen. Listen like a master. Not to respond, not to prepare your turn, not to prove you understand, but to truly hear, to hear what is said and what is not. Heng speaks little, but when he listens, you feel more seen than if you had spoken to a crowd. His eyes do not dart. His body does not fidget. His breath does not interrupt. He listens with his being. And that is unforgettable. Why most people don't really listen? They listen with the mind, not the heart, not the soul. They wait to respond. They search for flaws. They prepare their rebuttal. So while the mouth is quiet, the energy is not. You can feel it. They're not here. They're waiting to speak, waiting for their turn, waiting to redirect the conversation back to themselves. But the master, he listens as if the other person is the only sound in the universe. And that makes the speaker soften, slow down, reflect, trust, because someone is finally there, fully, quietly, without trying to take the space. Listening is not passive, it is powerful. Listening is not about staying quiet. It's about giving attention without invasion, offering space without suffocation, becoming still enough to receive the entire person, not just their words. Heng teaches, true listening is rare. That is why it is powerful. When you listen deeply, You give others permission to become more honest, more open, more vulnerable, more real. And in return, you are remembered, not for what you said, but for how you heard them. Meditation, listening with the whole body. Inhale slowly, exhale gently. Now imagine someone speaking to you. It could be a loved one, a stranger, a student, a teacher. And instead of preparing your next sentence, you clear space inside yourself. You breathe. You soften your face. You release judgment. You open the field of your chest, and you listen to their tone, to their breath, to the tremble in their voice, to the silence between their words. You are not gathering information. You are witnessing a soul unfold. This is sacred listening. This is presence. What happens when you listen like this? People feel safe, heard, understood in ways they didn't even expect. They say things they've never said. They reflect more deeply as they speak. They begin to feel seen, not just observed. And you become a mirror, a vessel, a quiet sanctuary in the noise. You begin to receive people fully, not fix them, not advise them, not interrupt them, and your silence becomes healing. The world begins to treat you differently. When you become someone who listens like a master, people lower their defenses around you. They speak more slowly. They open without fear. They begin to treat you with quiet reverence, not because of what you say, but because of how deeply you hold space for others to be. Heng doesn't interrupt. He doesn't fill the silence. He lets people hear themselves through the echo of his presence. And when you practice this, people begin to associate you with something rare: stillness, clarity, peace. Sleep with ears that no longer chase noise. As you rest now, let go of the day's distractions, the conversations, the misunderstandings, the noise. You do not need to be heard tonight. You do not need to explain. You do not need to say anything. Just listen to the breath, to the silence, to the subtle wisdom that rises when the mind quiets. Sleep like a master, with open ears, not to gather more noise, but to hear the soul whisper truth again. Final whisper of the 16th secret. Try this once. The next time someone speaks, don't rush, don't correct, don't interrupt, don't prepare your response. Just breathe, receive, let the moment stretch, and feel the shift. Others will sense your presence. They'll feel more whole around you. They'll open more deeply, and they'll never forget how you made them feel. Because the one who listens like a master is the one who speaks without saying a word. Secret 17. Let others reveal themselves. Say little, observe more. Close your eyes. Let your breath soften like mist rolling through the valley. Let the world grow quieter until you are the stillness beneath it. Because tonight's secret is not about influence, but revelation. Say little, observe more. Let people reveal who they are without your interference. Heng once said, "People show you their truth if you are quiet long enough to see it." You don't have to dig. You don't have to press. You don't have to pry. You simply don't interrupt their unfolding. And what is hidden always comes to light. The power of non-interference. When we speak too soon, we shape what someone might have said. When we react too fast, we block the lesson they were about to teach us. But when we hold the sacred silence, when we give space instead of pressure, when we observe without needing a story, people begin to show themselves. They show you what they fear, what they chase, what they pretend to be, and sometimes who they truly are, all without you needing to ask a single question. Heng doesn't confront truth. He waits for it to rise. Because the wise don't extract truth, they invite it by staying out of the way. Your presence is the test. You don't need to challenge people. You don't need to test their character. You don't need to provoke reactions. You only need to be still long enough, and others will reveal what they cannot hold back. In silence, truth slips out. In stillness, masks fall. In patience, stories crumble. And you begin to see, who are they really when I stop trying to be heard? Heng teaches with silence, because silence becomes the mirror that reveals all things. Meditation, becoming the mirror. Inhale deeply. Hold the breath like sacred water in a cup. Exhale slowly. Let everything settle. Now imagine someone in front of you. It could be a partner, a stranger, a friend, a leader, and you say nothing. You don't fill the space. You don't ask them to explain. You simply become a still lake, reflecting whatever they bring. And now watch, as they begin to reveal more than they intended. Their tone changes. Their posture shifts. Their truth emerges. Not because you pulled it, but because you made room for it. This is the mirror of presence. Why the secret is so rare. Most people fear silence. They rush to fill it. They explain themselves. They try to impress. They try to shape how they're seen. But the master, he watches, he listens, he waits. Because true character is not shown under pressure. It is shown in stillness. You learn more about someone in how they handle your quiet than your questions. And those who fear your silence were never comfortable with their own. What happens when you say little? People become uneasy. They search for cues. They wonder what you're thinking. And slowly they begin to show you who they are. Some will try to dominate the space. Some will confess things they didn't mean to. Some will crumble. Some will rise. Some will try to impress you. Some will leave. But all of them will reveal something. And you stay rooted, not to judge, but to see. This is the posture of wisdom. Sleep without needing to know everything. Tonight, let go of the urge to figure people out. Let go of over-analyzing conversations. Let go of trying to control how others see you. You don't need to say it all. You don't need to be understood tonight. You are learning the higher path. To see, not shape. To witness, not warn. To understand, without chasing. Rest now, as someone who no longer needs to interfere. Someone who knows the truth will always reveal itself if I stay quiet enough. Final whisper of the 17th secret. Do this once. In your next conversation, say less than usual. Leave more space. Don't explain yourself. Don't overshare. Don't rush to fill the silence. Instead, watch, breathe, let the silence rise, and then observe, what did they reveal? What did you see without effort? And from that moment forward, they'll never see you the same, because the one who speaks less sees more, and the one who observes without need is already beyond the need to be seen. Secret 18. The inner cloak. Not everyone deserves access to your soul. Let your breath deepen. Feel it return like the tide. Not to speak, but to guard. Because tonight's secret is not about being open. It's about knowing when not to be. Not everyone deserves access to your soul. There is a quiet strength in what you don't share, in what you protect, in what you keep sacred. Heng does not walk the world uncovered. His soul is not for display. His wisdom is not offered freely to every hand that asks. He wears an invisible cloak, woven from silence, awareness, and ancient discernment. And that cloak is not for hiding. It's for preserving what is holy. The lie of constant openness. Modern life says, be transparent, be vulnerable, share everything, don't hide. But true wisdom whispers something older. Protect what is sacred. Only reveal what can be held with reverence. The deeper your soul, the fewer who should have access to it. Heng teaches that mastery is not just in what you express, it's in what you contain. You are not a window. You are a temple. And not every visitor is ready to enter. Boundaries are not walls, they are altars. Boundaries are not about fear. They are about value. You don't lock the doors of a sacred temple because you're afraid. You do it because it is not a market, because it is not meant for traffic, because what happens within is holy. When you give too much of your truth to those who haven't earned your silence, you dilute the sacredness of your journey. You feel drained, exposed, unseen, and sometimes betrayed. Not because people are cruel, but because they were never meant to hold what you gave. So, stop giving what wasn't asked for. Stop opening doors no one knocked on. Stop revealing parts of your soul to those who only glance. Meditation, cloaking the soul. Breathe in, slowly and deeply. And as you exhale, imagine an invisible cloak forming around you. It is not armor. It is not defense. It is presence. Soft, light, protective, made of silence, wisdom, and self-respect. Now picture someone in your life. Maybe they ask too much. Maybe they take your openness for granted. And this time, you don't offer it all. You smile gently. You speak less. You hold more. Not from bitterness, but from honor. This is the cloak. And it does not close you. It preserves you. Why this secret changes everything. When you stop oversharing, people begin to feel something rare in you. They wonder, what is it they're not saying? What haven't I seen yet? Why does their energy feel so grounded, so complete? It is because you no longer bleed yourself into every space. You no longer seek validation in vulnerability. You no longer beg to be understood. You have understood yourself. And that is enough. The effects of wearing the cloak. People treat you differently. They speak more carefully. They respect your time. They lower their tone. They feel something they can't explain. You don't seem cold. You seem complete. They can't access you at will. They don't get your inner world on demand. And that mystery, that respectful distance, makes them lean in with more reverence. Heng does not conceal out of pride. He conceals out of peace. Not everyone is ready for the full flame of your soul. And that's okay. Keep it warm beneath the cloak. Let it burn where it belongs. Inside you. Sleep without overexposure. Tonight, release the need to be known by everyone. Release the fatigue of explaining yourself. Release the shame of not being understood. You are not hiding. You are honoring. You are not distant. You are devoted to your inner sanctum. Sleep like someone who has reclaimed their energy. Sleep like someone who no longer shares themselves carelessly. Sleep like someone who understands not everything sacred needs to be seen. Some things must remain cloaked to remain powerful. Final whisper of the 18th secret. Do this once. The next time you feel the urge to overshare, pause, breathe, and wrap the cloak gently around your heart. Say less. Hold more. Let silence protect your depth. And when others notice the shift, when they sense they can't read you like before, when they lean in and feel the boundary, they'll never see you the same. Because the one who protects their inner world is the one others begin to respect, even in silence. Secret 19. When you detach, they chase. Breathe in and release. As if you're letting go of needing to be needed. Letting go of gripping. letting go of proving, letting go of holding on too tight. Because tonight's secret is a paradox, a soft rebellion against the chase. When you detach, they chase. When you stop grasping, they lean in. When you stop proving, they start wondering. When you stop needing, they start noticing. This is not a trick. It is not manipulation. It is nature. Heng teaches. Clinging is loud. Peace is magnetic. The one who does not reach becomes the one others reach for. Why chasing diminishes your power. When you chase, you signal lack. When you grasp, you reveal fear. When you overtry, you broadcast need. Even when it's silent, people can feel it. The tension in your energy, the slight urgency in your words, the subtle expectation in your eyes. It all says, please see me, please choose me, please validate me. And in that vibration, you shrink, not because you are small, but because you've made someone else the center of your worth. But when you let go, when you detach from outcome, when you release the tension of needing anything to happen, you expand. And that expansion is irresistible. What detachment really means. Detachment is not indifference. It's not coldness. It's not withdrawal. Detachment is freedom. It is showing up fully, without gripping tightly. It is loving deeply, without needing ownership. It is caring honestly, without forcing anything to last. Heng says, let things come, let things go. Be still in both. That stillness is where your power lives. Meditation. Feel the freedom of letting go. Inhale slowly. Feel the breath rise like the tide. Exhale slowly. Feel the letting go. Now bring to mind something you've been clinging to. A person, an outcome, a fear, a desire. Feel the tightness of your grip. Now, loosen it. Not with anger, not with resentment, but with reverence. Let it float, like a paper lantern released into the sky, and feel what remains. Not loss, but space. Not sadness, but stillness. This is freedom. This is magnetic. Why they start chasing. When you stop trying to convince, they become curious. When you stop demanding attention, they begin to offer it. When you no longer need them, they begin to wonder what changed. It's not a game. It's not about reverse psychology. It's about reclaiming your center. I don't need you to stay for me to be whole. I don't need this outcome to feel peace. I trust what flows, and I release what fights. And in that non-resistance, they feel something rare, and they come closer. Not because you pulled them, but because you didn't. What happens when you detach? Your energy becomes soft, clear, rooted. You listen better. You speak more slowly. You feel more relaxed. There's no more pressure, no more fear of losing, no more fear of rejection. Because what stays, stays freely. And what leaves wasn't meant for your growth. This makes people feel safe around you. Not controlled, not evaluated, not needed for your self-worth. And ironically, that's when they stay longer, respect you more, want to understand you. The one who lets go is the one they reach for. Sleep without gripping. Let the body release everything it held too tightly today. Every hope that turned into tension, every desire that became anxiety, every person you tried too hard to please. Loosen your grip. Let the breath come in like a gift, not a demand. You are allowed to let go of the text that didn't come, of the outcome that didn't happen, of the expectation that didn't unfold. Not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more than the clinging. Sleep now. As someone who no longer chases, who no longer begs to be seen, who is whole, with or without. Final whisper of the 19th secret. Try this once. Stop chasing. Don't send that extra message. Don't justify yourself again. Don't explain what doesn't need explanation. Don't overgive. Don't beg to stay. Just pause. Let the silence speak. Let your peace return. Let them wonder. And when they do come back, when they lean in, when they notice you're calm, they'll never see you the same, because the one who detaches becomes the one they seek, and the one who no longer needs radiates the power that all are drawn to. Secret 20. Be unavailable to drama, chaos, and gossip. Take a slow breath. Let the noise of the world drop away. The opinions, the drama, the tension that is not yours. Tonight's secret is a powerful shield. Be unavailable to drama, chaos, and gossip. Refuse to be the audience. Refuse to be the echo. Refuse to be the storm. Because what you give your attention to, you give your power to. And when you learn to guard your energy like a sacred temple, people begin to treat you with new respect. Heng and the silence of discernment. Heng never reacts quickly. He doesn't enter quarrels. He doesn't rush to pick sides. He doesn't repeat what he hears about others. He is unavailable, not because he doesn't care, but because he knows the cost of letting low energy in. He does not follow gossip. He does not feed on conflict. He does not indulge in chaos to feel involved. Instead, he chooses the stillness few are brave enough to protect. Why drama is addictive and draining. Drama is loud. It's seductive. It makes you feel alive. It gives you a sense of belonging even if it's through shared negativity. But it's empty. It's noisy. And it steals your peace, drop by drop. You might not notice it at first. A heated conversation here, a juicy story there, a chaotic friend who never finds calm. But over time, your nervous system frays. Your sleep is disturbed. Your clarity fades. Your heart grows heavy, not from your life, but from the weight you weren't meant to carry. Meditation, becoming energetically unavailable. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly. And now, picture yourself surrounded by a field of light. This light is warm, soft, silent. Now imagine someone approaches, bringing gossip, chaos, drama, conflict, but the light does not open. It remains whole, soft but firm. You do not absorb. You do not react. You do not invite it in. You simply remain still. The storm passes, and you remain untouched. This is energetic maturity. What being unavailable looks like. You don't entertain gossip. You don't repeat what doesn't belong to you. You don't take sides. You don't feed fires. Instead, you change the subject. You speak peace when others speak noise. You walk away without apology. You create space where others seek conflict. And eventually, people stop bringing the storm to your doorstep because they know you don't open the door. What happens when you refuse to be pulled in? You become a sanctuary. People feel calmer around you. They speak more carefully. They listen more. You begin to elevate the room, not with force, but with presence. And those who love the chaos, they'll feel exposed, uncomfortable, unable to hold your gaze, because your peace becomes a mirror. It reveals their noise. And many won't like that, but that's okay. You didn't come to be liked. You came to stay whole. Sleep without the noise of others. Tonight, release what was never yours. The arguments you replay in your head, the words someone said about someone else, the need to defend your name, the urge to be in the know. You do not need to solve everything. You do not need to react. You do not need to keep up with the noise. You can be silent, still, and sovereign. And in that inner temple, you are protected. Sleep now, as one who no longer chases drama, as one who no longer hosts gossip, as one who no longer lives in storms that aren't theirs. Final whisper of the 20th secret. Do this once. When someone brings you chaos, pause, smile softly, say less, don't engage, and feel the shift. You'll feel your nervous system stay calm, your mind stay clear, your heart stay light, and they'll feel something too. They'll feel that you are different now, not superior, but sovereign, and they'll never see you the same. Because the one who refuses to host noise becomes the one others turn to for quiet. Secret 21. The discipline of not explaining yourself. Breathe in now, as if you no longer need to prove anything, as if the very air agrees you are enough. Because tonight's secret isn't about what you say. It's about what you don't have to. The discipline of not explaining yourself. When you know who you are, you don't need the world to validate it. When your inner compass is steady, you don't seek permission to follow it. Heng rarely explains himself. Not out of arrogance, not out of pride, but out of discipline. His path is rooted in presence. And presence doesn't need to justify. The hidden cost of over-explaining. Every time you explain your soul to someone who cannot hear it, you leak power. Every time you justify your choice to someone committed to misunderstanding it, you tighten invisible chains. Every time you defend your peace, you imply that your peace needs defending. But when you stop explaining, something magical happens. You become rooted. You become quiet. You become free. Because truth does not plead. Why we feel the urge to explain. It often comes from old wounds. The fear of being judged. The fear of being rejected. The fear of disappointing others. The fear of being misunderstood. So we overcompensate. We say too much. We try to control the narrative. We offer disclaimers, apologies, justifications even for our peace. But the wise master knows, explaining is not understanding. People will only hear what they're ready to receive. So why offer more than they can carry? Let your life explain you. Let your energy be the answer. Meditation, releasing the need to explain. Inhale deeply and feel your body soften. Now bring to mind a moment recently where you tried too hard to be understood, where you explained more than was needed, where you gave reasons and still weren't seen clearly. Now exhale that moment, like smoke rising into the sky. Say to yourself gently, I release the burden of needing to be understood. I trust my alignment. I walk my path without apology. Let the silence grow, and in that silence, feel your power return. What Heng does instead, he acts from clarity. He speaks with intention. He lets his presence be enough. When asked why, he smiles. When pushed to explain, he pauses. When misunderstood, he remains still. Not because he is hiding, but because he is anchored. His truth does not tremble at confusion. His path does not crumble at disagreement. His values are not up for negotiation. And in that stillness, others feel something deeper than words. What happens when you stop explaining? People start leaning in. They sense mystery. They feel strength. They no longer see someone who needs validation. They see someone who has already validated themselves. They might ask more questions, but you answer less. They might test your calm, but you hold it. And slowly, they begin to understand. This person is not trying to be understood. They are living in truth. That truth doesn't shout. It radiates. Sleep without defending yourself. Tonight, let go of the conversation you replay in your head, the explanation you wish you had said, the approval you didn't receive, the judgment you didn't deserve. You don't need to relive it. You don't need to fix it. You don't need to explain it to the night. You only need to rest in the knowing that your truth is enough. Sleep now. As someone who has nothing to prove, who walks in clarity, who trusts their quiet. Final whisper of the 21st secret. Do this once. When someone asks you, why do you do it that way? Why didn't you respond? Why don't you explain yourself? Smile softly and say nothing. Let your silence speak. Let your clarity protect. Let your calm end the conversation. And from that moment forward, they'll never see you the same. Because the one who stops explaining starts embodying. And embodiment needs no words. Secret 22. They won't respect you until you walk away. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the presence of all the times you stayed too long. In conversations where your soul was shrinking. In relationships where your voice was fading. In rooms where you were no longer truly seen. Tonight's secret is not about confrontation. It's not about vengeance. It's about quiet departure. They won't respect you until you walk away. Not because you forced their hand, but because your absence spoke louder than your presence ever could. Heng teaches this not with words, but with footsteps. He does not warn. He does not beg. He simply bows and leaves. Staying too long diminishes your light. When you stay in places that don't nourish you, you begin to believe you are meant to starve. When you stay with people who don't hear you, you begin to lower your voice to match their ears. When you stay in cycles that don't respect your evolution, you begin to mistrust your own growth. But walking away is not weakness. It is wisdom. Why they only wake up after you leave. It is human nature to take for granted what is always available, to ignore what is always present, to forget the value of what does not require effort. So they don't change when you complain. They don't evolve when you plead. They don't listen when you over-explain. But the day you go silent, the day you withdraw your energy, the day you stop showing up, is the day they feel your worth. In its absence, meditation, the sacred exit. Take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, imagine letting go of a room where your soul is not seen, of a table where your spirit is not fed, of a space where your evolution is not welcomed. Now visualize yourself standing up, not with anger, not with resentment, but with peace. You walk slowly to the door. You bow. You leave without needing closure. And behind you, the silence becomes louder than words. Walking away is a form of teaching. When you walk away without drama, you teach people what you will no longer accept. When you leave without insults, you show them the power of grace. When you stop participating in your own disrespect, you become untouchable. Not because you are above them, but because you are finally with yourself. And that self is sacred. The impact of your absence. They feel it. The calm that left the room, the peace that's no longer there. The grounding presence they dismissed too many times. Suddenly, your boundaries are no longer words. They are distance. And in that distance, they come face to face with who they were without you. Some will reflect. Some will regret. Some will remain unchanged. But that's not your business. Your business is your freedom. Sleep without apology. Tonight, release the guilt of walking away. Release the lie that staying is noble. Release the fear that leaving makes you weak. You are not abandoning anyone. You are returning to yourself. Let your body rest like a traveler who has found home again. Let your breath deepen like someone no longer performing. Let your soul whisper, "I've stayed too long, but now I know better." Sleep, not as someone who left in shame, but as someone who rose in love. Final whisper of the 20-second secret. Do this once. Don't fight. Don't explain. Don't threaten to leave. Just leave. Bow in silence. Take your peace. Take your breath. Take your energy. And when they notice you're no longer there, when they feel the echo of your absence, when they finally ask, "Where did you go?" you'll already be gone. Healed, whole, free, and they'll never see you the same. Because the one who walks away is the one who finally walks toward themselves. Secret 23. The aura of emotional control. Take a long, slow breath. Hold it gently at the top, and now let it go like the tension you've been carrying for years. What if I told you that people feel you, not through your words, not through your achievements, but through your emotional state? The one who can remain calm rules the room. The one who does not flinch becomes the leader. The one who stays composed becomes unforgettable. This is the quiet superpower of emotional control. Not coldness, not suppression, but self-mastery. Heng radiates this, not by holding back emotions, but by being bigger than them. Emotional control is energetic authority. You've seen it before. The person who doesn't react in chaos, the one who listens while others shout, the one whose face softens instead of hardening under pressure. They don't need to raise their voice. They don't need to dominate the room. Their calmness is the dominance. Because most people are emotionally unstable, tossed by waves of anger, anxiety, and ego. But when you become the still ocean, everyone notices. Why emotional outbursts diminish you. When you explode in anger, you've handed your power over. When you chase in anxiety, you've given your control away. When you weep in front of those who don't honor your pain, you've leaked your sacred energy. This doesn't mean emotions are bad. It means emotions are tools, not masters. Heng teaches, emotions are energy in motion. If you don't guide them, they will guide you. And where they guide you is often not where your soul wants to go. Meditation. Become the still flame. Inhale now. Picture a candle in a quiet room. The flame doesn't flicker because no wind enters the space. Now bring to mind a situation that usually rattles you. Someone who triggers you. An insult that stays with you. A pressure that overwhelms you. Imagine standing in that situation as the candle flame, still, soft, lit from within, unbothered, not because you don't feel, but because you are centered in your breath. What emotional control looks like. You pause before reacting. You speak when the storm inside you has passed. You breathe before answering the provocation. You are not cold, you are clear. You are not distant, you are rooted. When insulted, you do not defend. When praised, you do not inflate. When abandoned, you do not collapse. You remain whole, soft-spoken, grounded, and in that quiet control, you become magnetic. How people react to emotional maturity. They feel safer around you. They come to you for perspective. They hesitate before disrespecting you. Why? Because you don't mirror chaos. You don't entertain noise. You don't reward emotional immaturity. They sense they cannot pull you into games. They cannot throw you off balance. They cannot shake what is already centered. That's when people say, there's something about them. What they feel is your aura of emotional control. Sleep without carrying what isn't yours. Tonight, you are not here to replay the conflict. You are not here to relive the pain. You are not here to win imaginary arguments in your mind. You are here to return to your center. Breathe slowly now. Feel the mind quiet. Feel the chest soften. Feel the emotions slow down like snowflakes drifting to the ground. You are not your anger. You are not your sadness. You are the space beneath them. And that space is free. Final whisper of the 23rd secret. Do this once. In a moment where you would usually explode, pause. In a moment where you would defend, exhale. In a moment where you would collapse, straighten your back. Say nothing. Do less. Be still. And watch how the world around you starts to move differently. People will feel something shift. They won't know what changed, but they'll never see you the same. Because the one who controls their emotions commands the energy of the room, and the one who holds their center is already a master. Secret 24. True respect begins in solitude. Take a slow breath in. Now let it out, not just from your lungs, but from your expectations. Tonight's secret is a quiet one. One the world won't shout, because it doesn't sell, doesn't entertain, and doesn't beg to be noticed. But those who carry this secret are seen differently. True respect begins in solitude. The kind of solitude that's not lonely. The kind of solitude that's chosen. The kind of solitude that makes people wonder, what do they know that I don't? Heng doesn't chase company. He doesn't surround himself for validation. He seeks out emptiness, not as absence, but as a temple. Why people are drawn to the one who can be alone? Because most people run from silence. They fill their calendars, their rooms, their feeds with anything that keeps them from sitting with themselves. But when someone chooses solitude, not out of sadness, but out of reverence, they begin to glow differently. They become self-fed, self-regulated, self-respecting. And from that depth comes gravity. People feel it, even if they don't understand it. The mistake of seeking respect in noise. Respect is not earned by speaking louder. It is not earned by gaining followers. It is not earned by being in every room, every moment, every crowd. True respect is cultivated in the moments no one sees, in the quiet practices no one applauds, in the hard decisions made when no one is watching. Heng often says nothing at all, and yet people wait to hear him speak. Why? Because his silence has depth. His solitude has substance. And it's in that emptiness that greatness is born. Meditation. Becoming comfortable in your own presence. Close your eyes and feel the space around you. Now remove every voice that isn't yours. Every opinion. Every memory of judgment. Every need to be liked. What remains is you. Just you. Breathe into that. I am enough in this quiet. I do not need to be filled. I am full even in stillness. Let that truth settle in your chest, like a mountain, unmoving, unshakable. The shift that happens in solitude. You stop being reactive. You stop performing. You stop shrinking. You begin to listen inward. You begin to heal slowly. You begin to know deeply. Solitude is the mirror that doesn't lie. It shows you what you truly want, what wounds still remain, what strength you forgot you had. And when you emerge from that solitude, people feel the difference. They feel the peace you carry, the clarity in your eyes, the depth in your voice, and they begin to respect what you built. Without their approval, how the world treats the one who respects themselves. When you are at peace with being alone, you become magnetic. You no longer beg. You no longer explain. You no longer need. You attract, not because you chase, but because your solitude makes you whole. People feel safer around you. They feel elevated by you. They feel intrigued by your calm. You don't give your time easily, and that makes your presence more valuable, because people always respect what they cannot easily access. Sleep without needing anyone to approve. Tonight, let go of the need for validation, the anxiety of being misunderstood, the ache to be constantly surrounded. Tonight, be alone, on purpose. Let your breath become your company. Let your thoughts be heard by the sky. Let your soul take up all the space in the room. Sleep not as someone who is abandoned, but as someone who returned to themselves, and in that return, discovered their highest self. Final whisper of the 24th secret. Do this once. Choose to be alone, not to isolate, but to recenter. Sit in silence. Eat in stillness. Walk without noise. Sleep without needing anyone to notice. And soon, people will notice, not because you screamed, but because you glowed, and they'll never see you the same. Because the one who respects themselves enough to be alone is the one others feel drawn to, even in silence. Secret 25. Closing blessing. The moment you became untouchable. Close your eyes now, beloved listener. Let the eyelids fall like silk curtains. After a grand performance, not of noise, but of awakening. Tonight, you do not need more information. You do not need more lessons. You have walked a long way, not on roads, but through invisible thresholds within you. And now, you are ready to hear this final secret. You became untouchable the moment you chose yourself. Not loudly, not with declarations, not with rebellion, but quietly, sacredly, in a moment no one saw, but that changed everything. The invisible shift that changes everything. It doesn't happen in a crowd. It doesn't happen when you get praised. It doesn't happen when they finally say, "I see your worth." It happens when you sit in silence and stop waiting to be chosen. When you wake up and realize you need no permission to rise. When you walk away without needing them to follow. In that moment, you cross a sacred line, not away from others, but into your own energy field. And from that point forward, they will never see you the same. The world respects the one who needs nothing, not because you have everything, not because you prove anything, but because you have returned to center. When you need nothing, you're no longer easy to manipulate. When you stop chasing, you become magnetic. When you are full within, you stop leaking energy outward. This is the moment of transformation. The moment where your aura shifts. The moment you are no longer in the same frequency. The moment the people who once took you lightly pause and feel your presence. Meditation, the sacred return. Take a deep, full inhale. Hold it. Feel what it's like to be whole. Now exhale. And with that breath, release every moment you abandoned yourself. The yes you gave when your heart said no. The apology you offered just to keep the peace. The silence you kept when your soul wanted to speak. Let it go. Say to yourself, "I forgive the past version of me who didn't know better. I now walk in a new way. I am the protector of my own peace." And let your body melt into the bed. Let the earth carry you now, as if it always knew you'd come back. What it means to be untouchable. Not cold, not distant, but anchored. You don't flinch when disrespected. You exit. You don't beg to be loved. You choose peace. You don't over-explain. You act from clarity. Your boundaries don't come from anger. They come from knowing. Knowing your worth. Knowing your path. Knowing your light. And that knowing makes you untouchable. Not because you're better, but because you're no longer breakable. Sleep in the frequency of power. As you drift now into sleep, know this: you have nothing left to prove. You have no one to impress. You are no longer seeking from the outside what already lives within. Let these words fall over you like blessings. I do not chase. I do not beg. I do not lower myself to be loved. I am the silence that cannot be disturbed. I am the mountain that cannot be moved. I am the presence that does not need permission. I am the peace that ends the war. And from this frequency, you attract differently. You rest differently. You wake up changed. Final whisper of the 25th secret. Do this once. Choose yourself. Not with noise, not with applause, but with stillness. Wake up one day and decide that your peace is more important than their approval. Smile to yourself and don't explain why you're no longer available to chaos. Step out of their expectations and into your energy. And from that moment on, the room will shift when you enter. The energy will change when you speak. The world will feel your glow even when you say nothing. Because you, beloved listener, have become untouchable, not by power, but by peace, not by ego, but by essence, not by force, but by finally being yourself. Closing affirmations. Blessing. The Master walks in silence. Close your eyes now, dear soul, not because there is nothing left to see, but because everything you need is now within. You have walked a rare path tonight, not one paved with noise, but one carved in stillness. You've heard the secrets not spoken in crowds, but whispered in temples, not broadcast through speakers, but carried in breath. And now you return home, not to who you were, but to the one who has always been waiting. Just beneath the surface, the body rests, the energy rises. Let your breath slow. Let the muscles fall away. Let the mind soften. You are not rushing anymore. You are not proving anything anymore. You are not chasing or avoiding or performing. You are simply here, and here is enough. And as your body melts into sleep, let each of these truths sink into your subconscious like sacred seeds planted in moonlight. Affirmations for presence, power, and peace. Repeat them in your mind, softly, slowly, as if they were ancient prayers returning to you from lifetimes ago. I am not here to be seen. I am here to embody. My energy speaks before I do. My presence is louder than my words. I release the need to explain. I'm already understood by the silence within. I hold eye contact, not to control, but to connect. My gaze is soft, still, sacred. I do not rush to react. I pause. I breathe. I respond from clarity. I can leave without closure. My peace does not depend on unfinished stories. I say no when needed. Without guilt, without apology, I enter a room without needing to be loud. I carry stillness, and stillness is felt. I breathe before I speak, and my words land with grace. I honor the discipline no one sees. I become the presence everyone feels. I keep my silent promise, one sacred act. Every day, I no longer fill silence. I become it. I release the outcome. I deepen in presence. What I am becoming cannot be seen immediately, but it will never be forgotten. The Master walks quietly. Now let go of the names. Let go of the titles. Let go of the story. You don't need them where you're going, because the one who walks quietly eventually shifts everything they walk through. Heng does not raise his voice to be heard. He lowers his energy until even the noise bows to his presence. You are learning to do the same. And soon, without effort, people will pause when you enter the room. Not because you are performing, but because you are present. Whisper to your soul before sleep, I am still. I am sacred. I am walking a different path. I no longer seek to be recognized. I simply am. And that is enough. Those who feel me will come closer. Those who do not will fade. But I will not chase. I will not shout. I will not shrink. I will only continue walking. As sleep enfolds you, feel yourself floating now, above thought, above time, above tension. The body soft, the breath quiet, the soul full. You are not the same person who began this journey. You carry more peace, more strength, more stillness. And tomorrow, you will carry it with you, not in what you say, but in how you breathe, how you listen, how you move, how you exist. And others will feel it. They may not know why, but they'll never see you the same again. Final blessing. So rest now, Sacred One. Let the teachings melt into your marrow. Let the rhythm of presence become your lullaby. Let the breath carry you inward, to the place where no validation is needed, to the place where truth sleeps beside you. You are the quiet storm, the grounded mountain, the flame that does not flicker. You are the master now, and the master walks in silence. Good night.